Yeah. When we put it, we just kind of was here. Um, 3,200 square foot, and we moved to what we're in now. We were going to add the room on. And you know how it is if you have to move in. And then I'm not even interested after building the church building now. I'm not even interested. I'm good. Yeah.
It's funny you say that because my wife and I, we bought that'll be for a house on it. I got it fixing it, try it out, built and made there they want.
So, yeah, exactly.
We've already made that decision. Whenever we get ready to go, we're 6 months in advance.
Yeah, so I'm not interested in doing it while I'm in there.
No, I don't want it.
No, not at all.
Hello. You're Greg.
New board member.
Yes, I'm Don.
Hi, nice to meet you, Johnny.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to the.
Yep.
These changes, that's strange.
Oh, yeah, that's a member sergeant.
yesterday. Came off that speaker. I see more physical therapy and I'll be ready to go back to Annie.
Are you gonna be rolling around for a bit, huh?
A couple of days at least until the swelling goes down. I can put pressure on it, but it's sitting it down. Getting in and out of the car with this.
So you got a heavy foot out there on the highway.
Well, just don't shoot out in traffic. They'll give you a warning for it. It's your leg and knee? It's actually this part right here, the clutch strap on the front, and right there where the hamstring comes to the back of the knee on the back. Because of the way it's twisted this upper part. The knee is fine. But it's fine. My knee's hanging all over my knee didn't hurt. It hurts right here. It's like take that one. You don't realize when you take a step, when you lift your toes up, how it pulls from the back.
Amazing how it's all connected.
Yeah, kind of funny how it's all kind of wound together there, huh?
Head bone is connected.
That's right.
How you doing, Ray?
If it's stapled,
No, that's all right.
I got one, thanks.
I've got one, but it hasn't changed, has it?
No.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you so much. Sure.
Now let me make a copy of her.
As far as what?
This is
That's his last name. Yes, sir. Okay, I got that. His last name.
I guess I'm gonna be sitting beside you.
Well, bless your heart.
Last name. That is
Right.
one of the towns.
There is. And there's one in California too.
Yeah. Oh, right. It's like they got all of our jackets have our last
Sure.
names on the back.
Well, that makes sense.
Right. So especially when we're on the scene.
The only thing how it really fishing.
You got it?
Told me about it.
1410. Show me how to fit Parky Park here in Ryan, yes, sir.
Gonna be the new vice.
You want me to be new vice? See how much.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk. Yeah, that's on the agenda. We'll look at it. Teacher point.
No, that's well, that too. But past few months,
You go in case you want to put some little weight.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Several months ago.
There we go.
Does it ever feel rainy?
my world.
No, not in ours.
That's why there's 3 of them.
I noticed that.
Got my hearing aids. Who else are we waiting on? Y'all ready to roll?
Yep.
Who's gonna take notes?
I've got minutes.
Okay. Call to order, Chair. Members, we're members Shanklett, but roll call to establish quorum. No quorum. See item 2. There is no quorum. Item 2, McCurtain County Board of Commissioners update. Presented by the OCC Commissioners. Resignation of guests. We got a commissioner here. Trustee. Announcement of appointment of new board members by the county commissioners. Municipal Link.
We have announced appointed Johnny's Bowling and
I have talked to Dawn. Thank you. Not yet, John. How do you pronounce?
Johnny's.
Jonas. Okay, so I had it right. Okay. So we got our form. All right, good. Call to order. Greg Strange, member. Thank you, Let.
Here.
Who's here? Okay. Here.
Present.
Resignation of guests. I Comments from the public limited to 5 minutes. Time may be extended at the discretion of the board. Pursuant AG Opinion 02-26. Comments from the public shall be limited to the items on the agenda. Resignation of the board. Per Article 5, Section 2, the board shall meet and elect a chairperson, vice chairperson, secretary, and treasurer from among themselves, each of whom shall hold the office until next annual meeting or until the appointment and qualification of his successor, unless sooner removed, death, resignation, or for cause. The office of the secretary and the treasurer may be held by one person. Election of chair.
Mr. Chairman, may I have a question? Make a comment?
You gotta yell at me.
Okay, I didn't want to be
That'll
rude and
work.
yell at the end of the room down there, so now that I know the rules of engagement.
I apologize.
No worries. Thanks for telling me. Is it essential that we do it at this meeting? Is there are you not carrying on as chairman?
Slow that traffic down.
I'm just curious, is there a need to do it at this meeting? And the reason I'm asking is two of us are brand new. We've just met some folks.
Right.
And in order to be able to make a decision, and I'd like to talk to folks. I'd like the board members get to know me and who they are. If it's not critical, and that's the question that we do it tonight, is there any consideration of maybe just postponing it, getting temporary, if we need temporary put in until we can come down the road and have a conversation.
Okay.
I'd be willing to make that motion if the chair will accept it.
Mr. Williams, is there any?
There's nothing that bylaws that state you have to
Yes, sir.
make. You can. They are voting members. But,
I just want to make sure there was any kind of conflict or anything like that that would
I don't
cause.
see a conflict.
Okay.
Can I comment? Chair, Greg, can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Loudly, though, may I add?
I'm loud anyway. So. My concern is, how do we get to know each other without forming a quorum that we're not supposed to be forming?
There's 4 of you right now. So technically, it's a board of 5, so 2 of you can still get together.
But technically, if I don't have 5 here, it's 2 is a quorum, correct? No? Okay.
Three
You have to at
people.
least have 3 people.
Right. I understand that. Yes. Okay.
But I would say, for example, just to reference it, so Greg and I had a conversation today, and it has no violation whatsoever of we're individual allowed to. I wasn't suggesting we all go get beer by any means. I'd just like to have a conversation, to have a chat with each folks and find out who's doing what and where we are. Yeah, that's it. That's my motion, sir. That we would delay it, at least forego at least until the next meeting. That's my motion.
So you want to table it? That's your recommendation.
Yes, my motion is that we table it for at least a month. I would also add to that, in the event, in the short term, if there is a mission critical position that we need, then I'm all for having somebody on a temporary basis until, like I say, we can kind of figure out and determine who's got what strengths and how do we all fit in to make this thing move forward.
Understand. Good point.
I'm currently a secretary or a treasurer. With the resignations and all that.
Okay, but we have a motion on the floor.
And I say the motion includes if we have to appoint someone temporarily.
Does
Point taken.
anybody know that anybody wants them positions? I don't think so.
But I guess the first thing is if we could just make sure that motion carries, and then we can have a secondary motion to come in to decide if we want to appoint someone on a temporary, if you'd be okay with that, Mr. Chairman.
I offered to do it, but my attorney said no.
So
You
we have a
cannot.
motion. We have a motion on the floor. We're going to need a second if it's going to go through. If not, it dies on the floor.
The motion is to take no action, correct?
That is correct. At this meeting,
Yeah,
the chair will
I'll
call for a
second the motion.
We're going to item 6.
Well, we have to vote on it, sir.
Y'all
No.
vote. I can't.
I vote in favor of temporary.
First and second.
John East, I'm sorry, you voted no?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Also no?
All in favor.
So who was my second there? Were you my
Shane's
second?
the second.
Yes, I was the second. Yes, ma'am.
What's your vote? What's your vote? Yes or no?
Who said yay and who said no?
At my count, sir, it would be 1 for and 2 against.
Don voted yes. I voted no. John East voted no.
I'm sorry, but you second the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. That's where my confusion was coming from.
You
Yes.
second the motion.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry.
So how do you want that to stand, Shane? Second the motion. Do you still want your vote to say no, or do you want it to change to yes?
I want it to stay no.
Okay.
Anybody bring breakfast?
Now you double have to point.
You got to appoint a position.
Well,
That position.
we have to go through each one, I would suggest.
Mhm.
So, Mr. Chairman, I would move that you maintain chairmanship.
Election of chair. Well, stay.
I second the motion to keep Greg as chair.
I'll hang in there as long as I can.
We would need to call for a vote, Mr. Chairman. We have a motion and a second, and we would now take a vote.
I'm abstaining from that vote.
Don?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I'm trying to hold up on you
No, you're fine.
when you're ready.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the board select Janice as vice chairman.
Election of vice chairman. I mean, that's most experienced.
Okay. I was saving him for secretary since he'd be able to get the notes, obviously. So you understand. There's no sliding.
No, I agree.
I'm big on putting in people.
Yeah, I agree.
Not that she can't take that. That's right.
Election secretary.
We gotta,
Okay, we're
we gotta
not through
vote
there.
on,
Eh,
we have to second.
Motion is to nominate Janice to be vice chair of the board.
Second the motion to have John East nominated for vice chair.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Ready?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, if you would entertain a motion, I would motion that Shane combine the positions at this point for secretary treasurer.
I
Is
do
that
not
something
want
you're interested in, Shane?
not treasurer, no, just secretary.
Secretary, then. Mr. Chairman, I will amend my motion then to nominate Shane to be the secretary of the board.
I will second that motion. Yes.
Yes.
All in favor, yeah.
Aye.
This next one, I don't think anybody wants, but
So I've got a
has
couple
to
of
be filled.
questions on this next one here.
Yes, ma'am.
On this treasurer, I know what boards I've sat on previously, what that entitles. I'd kind of like to know what that entitles for this board.
Now it says treasurer can be the secretary. I mean, they can be both.
But Shane has said he did not want treasurer.
Nobody wants it. I mean,
But she's asking
What it
what it
entails.
entails.
What it entails.
What it entails.
basically paying the bills. I mean, there's not a whole lot to treasury the secretary takes notes, treasury does the billing, and make sure that people get paid that are owed money from this department, whether it's i.e. electric, propane, and that's what it entails.
So
It's
please
just
keep in
a
mind
lot
some of my questions.
number crunching.
A lot of my questions are to clarify. It's not that I probably don't already know. It's that I need to clarified for me here tonight. If for some reason someone takes this and decides they don't want it, they can pull out
Yes, ma'am.
and still remain on the board.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Sure. Okay, so now I'm not trying to interrupt. I'm going as you go, so I'm going to go back to you. Okay, so go with me here. So reconciling your books. How long has it been since they've been reconciled?
January of 2024.
Is that outside CPA for auditing purposes, or is it for this? Mm-hmm. And you said, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You said also to reckon to your bank statements. What was your exact wording on that? To look over them to make sure they're correct. How long has it been since someone's looked over those?
I did it back in January of 2024.
Is there a reasoning for that?
It's the first time that I was treasurer, so I wanted to make sure that we had proper records and everything of what the accounts looked like and where they were standing at.
But they haven't been looked over since you were there.
No, ma'am, not to my knowledge. They've not been looked over since.
How are our treasurer reports looking? We have none, correct?
February of 2024.
And we did have someone, this office has not been set empty. It's been filled, correct?
Correct.
Okay, go ahead. Anyone sitting here a certified CPA or accountant?
No, ma'am.
No.
Just thought I'd-
33 years of bookkeeping, medical billing, and medical field wise,
Well, there
yes,
you go.
but no.
Well, 33 years closer than I am.
Oh my.
So if someone was to take this,
They need to be paid.
so that was a question I did have. Is that something that is allowed to do? Or is it something that someone holds this office?
If
And if
it's donated.
So, to
And if
clarify,
they were paid,
legally, we can hire someone to do that.
and
Well,
what
I
fund does
understood.
that come out? Our general fund?
Which we don't have.
Yeah, that's a whole nother notebook page of questions.
I know.
But I think what you're doing is you're getting to the part where this is where I was trying to get to a minute ago. has some skill sets on here, unbeknownst to some of us. That's where I was really trying to get to. Is if we'd have flushed that bird 10 minutes ago, we'd been doing something different.
So I'm looking at February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. I'm looking at 11 months. Fixing to head into a new year.
Janice, the last treasurer's report that I did completed was in February of 2024. So from March until present.
We ought to do that.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I don't mind taking this on a temporarily basis. But I am no CPA and I am no accountant. And I highly recommend a CPA coming in and doing some auditing. Though I have background and I have some training in recognizing and looking at this stuff and finding it, I am not a certified accountant or a PT I am not. But somewhere here, we've got to get this, what's behind, brought up and behind us. And we got to start somewhere. So, y'all be nice.
Who you gonna get with okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't mind. I can do that. I'm okay with that. I just want it to be known that I would do it for a temporary basis till we can situate and we can get someone in here. But I also want it to be very clear that it's very important that we get the right person in here. That we don't jump into any CPA or any accountant or anybody, that it's got to be done right. We've got to get it done right. We've got to get it straight. We've got to get it caught up. We've got to get it rolling. Because the work in here alone on a monthly basis is enough, much less when it's backed up. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because y'all been doing it. But we got to get it brought up and we got to get it straight. So
I have a question for you. You're willing to take it on a temporary basis? Mm-hmm. Would that be in addition to being vice chairman, or would you like me to make a recommendation?
No.
Okay, you're fine with that.
I'm good.
I'm not trying to bury you. I just need to make sure you're comfortable.
I'm good.
Okay, cool. I'm all in.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate you stepping up.
So I need to make a nomination. I need to make a nomination to. We need to make a motion. Or she nominated herself, is what I'm asking. I'll make a motion then.
Still has to be an emotion.
All in favor.
I make a motion for Johnny's to take, excuse me, treasurer on a temporary basis.
I'll second that motion.
Yes.
Favor. Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Hold that for a little bit.
I'll say that while you still like
us.
us. How's that? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to
There
get
we
mine
go.
in early.
When you're ready. Okay.
Good with y'all are.
Good.
All right. All right. Item 6, term limits. Receive information, present information from the Curtin County Board of Commissioners.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? And I don't really care who answers this. I'm addressing it to you. That's where it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
So you're currently on the board. At what length of term?
I am currently
Okay, so
4
Shane,
years.
You're
I'm
the
at
4 year
4 years.
person. Is that
Yes,
right?
I'm the 4 year.
Okay. I thank you. Oh, there it is. Is that right there? I got
Yes,
that
sir.
part.
That's okay.
Okay. So who's the 5?
I just started again.
Yeah, right. So what would that put you at?
Would be Greg.
That's
Would
what
be
I'm
the
saying.
five.
Thank you.
He would be the
Yes.
I'm just trying to figure out what the holes
Yes.
are here.
He was 1, and then when they
All right.
redid it in October, whenever.
Got it.
He becomes the 5.
I couldn't believe I've been here 10 years.
And so that leaves 3, 2, and 1 for 2 of us and a soon to be drafted point guard.
That would put me down to 3.
No, he was 5.
I was 5.
He was 5, now he's 4.
Yeah.
He was 1 when y'all re-upped him. He became the 5. He was only 1.
Okay, right?
That's right.
Okay, clear.
So it is 3. It is 3, 2, and 1 that are open.
Stephanie was the 3. Eddie was the 2.
So who's the 3 now? Is that to our discretion?
Yeah, it's thee or me.
I feel like I'm at an auction.
So I can put my motion out there?
Yes.
I make a motion.
Second.
I haven't heard the motion yet.
That's what I was.
I'm writing it down, trying to make sure I've got it understood correctly.
And the balance will take the 2.
Pick a number.
Go
Pick a
deep.
door.
Listen,
Pick a
go
door.
go big, go bold. Take the 3.
Me?
Yeah. I'm Hertz. I'm number 2. Fine. Listen, at the end of the day, the terms, if they can be renewed, obviously they can be. So that doesn't do a thing to me, plus or minus on it. I mean,
Okay.
listen, I'm fine. I love being here.
Okay.
Make
I'm
me 2,
like going. I don't
3,
have
I'm
a
cool.
preference. I'm
Right?
good. So
If we all
someone
doing
just
our job,
get us some
apparently
motions on the table, and we'll.
ain't a lot of people beating the door down, so whatever.
Okay, so I'm gonna take.
You do 3. I make a motion that she's 3. I make the motion that I'm 2.
In favor.
Second that motion.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Passed.
Gonna be Christmas soon. When you're ready.
Ready.
Discussion and possible action. Discussion and possible action to recommend the Board of County Commissioners removal of Brad Hardaway, Brayden Hardaway, or authorities and requisition of receiving agents from Hochatown Volunteer Fire Department.
Okay, so I have a question concerning this number 7. Is this has not already been done?
Has it? It's not been done.
No.
It's not been done. Okay. So it hasn't been done, or there's no minutes on it being done. Okay. Good. Okay.
Discussion and possible action to recommend Marcus.
We gotta
Okay, so this
Let's
is
vote
to
on
remove them from all of their.
Oh,
Okay. I'll make that motion to remove them.
Questions, Chairman? Is it at their request or our request?
their request.
I'm just asking.
Their request.
It's
Y'all's request.
It's
I understand,
We
but
remove
right.
I understand, but I'm saying they, meaning the 2 folks. that
They
we're
asked to
discussing.
step down.
That's what I want to know.
They're no longer with the department.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just trying to figure out why we're doing.
I
what we're
know,
doing.
buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, let me. Hey, your
Okay.
friend.
No. Okay,
I got
listen. I'm just trying to figure out what I'm doing here
No, you're
and why I'm doing it to them.
They stepped down because last Thursday.
That's fine. Okay, ask and answer. I'm good with that.
I need a sec. I second the motion.
Yes.
Everybody's in favor. Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Number 8. Discussion and possible action to recommend Marcus and Chad Coxville to Board of County Commissioners to become requisition and receiving agent for Hochatown Volunteer Fire Department.
I'm sorry for dragging this out, Chairman. What is that position, dude? Please tell me. Okay, I'm just asking what these gentlemen were asking them to do. Okay.
Some of these gentlemen that have been having to do some of this because
Anyway,
it hasn't been doing.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm cool with it. I'm just like I say, I
Yeah,
just need to know what exactly that means to be a receiving agent for those.
I'll make a motion to recommend Marcus and Chad to do that.
I'll second the motion for Marcus and Chad to become requisition and receiving agents for Hochatown Fire Department.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Motion passed.
I'm assuming the gentleman wanted to do that. I know one had the courtesy to ask you, so I'm just making sure.
They're already doing it.
Okay.
Number 9. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. Discussion and possible action to authorize the remove of the following from all bank accounts belonging to the Hochatown Volunteer Fire Department Board and the Hochatown Volunteer Fire Department firefighters, including but not limited to general funds and the boot drive funds.
Okay, break this down for me, Shane.
Oh boy. We are the following people are on the bank accounts for
Okay.
different things, for the boot drive, for the general funds for the department. Since they're no longer here, those names need to be taken off of those accounts. That way, access is not given.
Okay.
And here in a little bit, it's going to be replaced with other people. That way, we can get these bills taken care of. That way, you have authorized users for information for what our records should reflect as far as finances go.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move 9 be adopted.
Well, it's Betty Shearer and Stephanie Hardaway.
I move that we accept 9 as written, as presented.
We don't need to do those one at a time.
No, they're all together.
I'll second that motion. Yes, ma'am. Your name's not on here.
Yes, it is.
Is it it?
Yep.
Oh, if
She
you were
did.
never on there. Okay,
But
that's the
it did
reason.
not get actually added, so it's just a technical.
Yeah, so that's good you're on there. No, on this. Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Ray, what you so frustrated about back there?
Number 10.
Discussion and possible action to authorize signers update signature cards on the bank account for the boot drive funds.
Again, I'm sorry to ask, but so each one of these, does each one need a specific person? That's my first question. And my second question will be, do we require 2 signatures on a bank
Yes, we
instrument?
do.
Right.
Okay. So back to the first question is then, does it have to be 2 separate on each of these, or can it be 2 people be charged with 10, 11, and 12?
So what are you're asking for us to step away from that? Right. Right. What is your opinion on that, John?
I want to make sure all the numbers are in order.
make sure all the numbers are in
I want to
order.
make sure
I
all
have
the
no
numbers are in
issues
order.
doing that. We just need to make sure everything's in order before we do that.
May I ask when the boot drive is, please? That's Memorial Day boot drive, is that right? I'm sorry, Labor Day. I'm sorry. Labor Day, I beg your pardon. Yes. Okay. So to clarify what I think you just told me, there will be multiple, is a potential for multiple fundraising events throughout the year, not limited to just a boot activity that I'm familiar with.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you're asking that they be added to that, correct?
To number 10.
Yes.
To number 10.
Yes.
Exclusively is what the request is. Agreed? That was going to be my question, if the fire force would be amenable to having a board member. No distrust. I'm just saying if it's our name that's attached to it, if it goes up, pardon the pun, up in flames, I'd like to have. Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
Okay. Did you want something?
Question: how many seniors can you have?
Mm-hmm.
Now, does it? It only requires 2, though. And those, just to be clear here, it could be 2 firefighters. It does not. I'm just making sure I'm clarified on it.
Mhm.
Even though we're on it, it is not required.
Unless we put that in there that it has to be 1 firefighter and
Yeah,
one.
this is. I'm just trying to clarify where we're going here on
Yes.
this.
Is that how you would prefer?
Honestly, transparency.
I agree.
That's where I was getting to. Okay. That's where I was. Yeah. Now, I don't have a problem having 2 firefighters and 2 board members for the sake of convenience and expediency. I'm good with that, but I would just like to go on record as when the motion comes through, my component would be that it be 1 firefighter and one board member of the 4 that are authorized on the card.
So let's get this motion correct here.
Yeah, good luck with that.
You want me to restate what y'all said? Will that help?
Sure, give it a whirl.
I'm saying is make a motion where there will be 4 signers
Mm-hmm.
that would include Chad and Seb as firefighters, Connie as secretary treasurer, another board member. That each check would require 1 firefighter and 1 board member signature.
Yes.
That's an accurate assessment of I'm so moved, Mr. Chairman.
I am impressed. That was good. Okay.
But you need the second board member.
Can we come back and do that as a separate, or do you need it right now in the same motion?
We need it.
Got to be in the same motion.
Yeah. You want to sign? So I will just say
So-
this. I'm highly accessible. I mean, I work up the street. I'm in town all the time. I answer the phone 24 hours.
I would rather if you're going to do it, because I am both a firefighter and a board member.
Okay, that was the
Okay.
question I was going to ask you. I thought you
That's
were on the
good.
force. Okay, so
So we'll make that second board member Dawn. So I have a motion on the floor to appoint Chad, Zeb, John East, and Dawn as the 4 authorized signers for the boot fund, drive funds, and each check is required 1 signature of from a firefighter, and then 1 from the board of the 4 that are listed. Is that correct? Are we all good with that?
Yes, ma'am.
We good with that, John? Okay.
I second the motion.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
I'm sorry for belaboring this. I have a question. That money collected at those fundraisers, Reader's Digest version, what does that money do? Where does it go?
Shirts like these that we don't
Right.
on caps. We had a firefighter on the department. We donated. Also donated.
At the discretion of the vote of the fire force?
Firefighter.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure who's making the decisions.
Because that
when it comes
boot
to-
fund is your fund. Correct.
But it does
Okay.
take a formal motion and a vote by the fire force. Okay,
Yes.
okay, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Number 11.
Number 11. I feel like Queen Elizabeth up
Well, we all know how that ended.
Discussing possible action to authorize signers, update signature cards on or the bank account of general funds.
So in the past, how many signatures has every board member been able to sign? Requiring 2 or everyone on it, or just the 2 that are on it? You don't require several so you can get a hold of more? Okay.
There's always been 3 on there,
3 authorized, 2 required.
just in case somebody wasn't here.
Exactly. That's why I was wondering if there was more.
3
Okay.
authorized, 2 required.
Or you,
But you could also authorize all. of
well, that was my past experience has been everyone was on there, but you had to get 2 signature. That makes it a little easier when someone's gone, or that was my question. If I mean, it's in front of you now. I don't know how it's worked for y'all in the past. So if I'm wrong and it's working, great. But if it would be better for everyone to do
I think
that,
it would
let's
be.
get everyone. It's in front of us now. It's here to do it now.
Let's do it.
Are we good with that, John? Right now, they've got 3 authorized on the general funds. They require 2. My deal was questioning was everybody on there that can sign, because they have to get 2. That'd be easier to get a hold of everybody. Is that okay with the commissioners? I understand. Yes. Okay. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. Got a motion on the floor to add every board member to the general fund bank account signature cards with 2 signatures required in order to write one. Are we good? Is that it?
I agree with that, but can we put something on there, a clause that says if they step down or whatever, they're immediately
No, because that has to
terminated?
go completely through the board and handled. That's where sometimes if they do step down, you can come in and do a special meeting and take care of that to remove that.
Well,
But that's the proper protocol. That's how
I can add to that the bank will not make without
minutes. They will not make them without the minutes in hand. It don't even do you no good to go to a bank to make the change without the minutes in your hand. So are we good with that motion?
I'll second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I
John
did.
East did.
I'll second the motion.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Motion passed.
what are we on now?
Well,
Number 12.
Let me get that. Eleven lasted so long. Hell, I guess probably need breakfast. Discussion and possible action to authorize signers, users, update zero card, petty cash card, local general.
so how many signers do we have on this now?
12 and 11 looks the same.
Was that the bank's change on their own? It had nothing to do with us.
what they were saying is the department was issued a card and authorized going out card. Now with the bank change, they want a card issued with a person's name on it. The one held responsible for card.
Every board I've sat on has had their own card.
So that is the change. Starting fresh year.
That's a good thing because every board I've sat on in the past has had your own card, your own name. So do we want to continue with the entire handle this situation with the board? So, okay, we got firefighters that are,
So the way we had it.
okay,
before,
explain that to me.
The board had card. Well, we all had one single card, but now the board will have a card for whoever wants cards up on the board. Plus, we had one in case we was out on calls after hours, or not after hours, but for more than 4 hours, where we could buy supper or whatever, or if we had to emergency get fuel.
Okay.
That's what we had the card for, or had to get parts.
Okay. Okay. So do we have a set one card that is used for that, the same card every month, or is that just any fireman doing that?
That's how we did have word keep safe act. What specific
Yes.
card with
Yes,
their
that's what I was
name
fixing
on
to say. That needs to be decided that that's how that does.
Correct.
Okay.
Do we currently have any limits on how much an individual can spend on that card, or is there? Is that $500 per occurrence per person?
doing was transferring that card.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want any one person having that card that access direct to.
So we had a sweep. So we would the treasurer would allocate $1,000 over. Is the card triggered at 1,000, or was it just the guideline where you could? It will shut down. So if there's $1,100 in the account, only 1,000 can go at any one month. Okay, so it does not shut off at 1,000. So it was not a banking still. Well, no doubt. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out what we're doing here, and
Money was not automatically placed.
But this was just one card being used between multiple people. So how did we keep up with what we knew we could and could not do?
we know what the running balance on that was at any one given moment.
So if one card was used by one person, how do we know who was using that card for each individual transaction?
They have to be turned in anyway, right? But my deal is, if you are out on a call and you are in emergency situations, and I know sometimes y'all go different directions, if you have to do something, you don't have time in that moment to pick up the phone and say, hey, I've used the card, don't use it. Hey, I've used the card, don't use it. How do we handle that?
What are the internal checks? The program has to be effective, so you have access to
And
funds,
being
but
that
it
this
can't be
is,
unlimited.
we may have to walk this out. We may have to keep a very tight watch on it and walk it out.
So can I ask a question? And just not that I'm not trying to do this, but it seems like there's some moving parts here that we kind of need to dive in to functionality and how it's all going to go. Tell me, how are you currently functioning without that card? I understand, if I'm clear, we do not have a card right now. What are we doing?
Oh, you're covering it yourself.
Why do we pay that out of petty cash and that not be paid?
Microsoft will not allow you. It has to.
Has to be on a credit card.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my question is on this. I see where Don's going here. That this is coming out of the petty cash because that was the only credit cards you had. If you have a card on the main bank account, it then does not have to come out of the petty cash. It can be paid like just.
But so what you and I are going the same way. You're saying a little more eloquently. What we probably need to do is on the master account, it should have a credit card issued with it.
So it's not coming out of the petty.
All known reoccurring charges that would be approved by the board can be allocated to be set up for direct withdrawal on that. Right, which is why I kind of I'm pumping brakes here because it's coming out of the general fund, not the boot fund.
Mm-hmm.
Make things a little overcomplicated.
No, you're good.
No, you're doing great.
No, they're not. No, you're good.
And I may be making things a little more overly conservative.
We're the newbies here. Yeah, I mean, we're the newbies here.
So what I'm saying is we're going to find a way to get here in the middle of it. I'm just not a huge fan as a business owner or operator having petty cash laying around. But I understand the need. We need to do something here.
They've always called that petty cash.
Yeah.
There is no cash.
I was going to say that was the other thing. I was concerned when I read this. There's a cigar box someplace. And you just kind
Well, see, that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from.
Right.
Okay, so
I guess in the past they were always afraid that if you had a credit card that was directly
So
linked
this-
to your large account, it was always that. They were
Okay, so
scared of
they are-
someone going out and draining the
so
account.
you are actually the petty cash is actually the general funds account. Okay.
Move it from one account over to the other so it can be used without endangering by misuse.
Understood. But we still have some functionality issues on day-to-day monitoring. I mean, I'm looking at 70 some odd calls. I don't know how
Right.
often that goes on. What I'm envisioning, and this is me talking, this is not me making a motion, I'm envisioning, I mean, I carry an American Express Gold card for our company. And what I'm envisioning is we may end up with credit cards signed up for 2 executive officers. I can see chief, whoever the chief wants to designate, we can have a conversation about there are 2 cards in the field, in the possession, and we can talk about how those are used. And it's what I tell all my sales staff. I mean, here's the card. This is your job, right? So you go out and you do something wrong, that's what happens.
Okay, so I'm trying to make sure I'm clear, and good luck with that. Are we pulling this petty cash money out of the general funds account and setting it in its own account?
On an ongoing basis to maintain a balance.
So that's where the 4 cards. That's where the cards are coming from. It is coming out because it's allocated and coming out and being set into this. Am I right? Okay. Do you get it?
I do, and I think the solution is that we're going to have to allocate 2 cards that allow the guys and the gals out in the field to do what they need to do with internal audit and control mechanisms, which companies do all over the country. I'm good with that. And that way these guys can move on the fly, but there are internal controls and ways to do it. Understood. Yes.
So
I
yeah,
get it.
and I'm good. I'm good. I'm just trying to get it. I don't.
And no offense intended, guys.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just,
absolutely.
creates a heck of a
Because if you're allocating it and you're sending it over and we're transferring it over to this account, there's only so much money in it anyway. You're only going to get so much anyway. It's not, but it is coming out of general funds. Okay, I'm tracking.
Yeah,
See?
So it's creating a second set of books.
Exactly. It's a second checkpoint.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So, and in order to move this along and not hamstring,
We have to be careful not to overload. You know, if he's using the card, he's using the card, he's using the card. All of a sudden, what? We don't have any money left.
And that's why I think that's why we need to sit down here. Do what? Well, that was my question earlier. Is so if the first night something happens and they use $993, then they're just no understood. Yeah, okay. And so we can always come back and have a conversation about why we need to repopulate that account. We would agree on that, right?
It is. It's a safety net. I have no issues with it at all. I'm sorry.
No, exactly.
Yes,
I'm thinking
That's
two
what,
in the field among
because when
seniors.
we mention the general fund account, I get it coming out of it, but then
Two
everybody
separate-
up here is going to have a card
two
to the general
accounts,
fund
and you
account,
decide
and my
what
wheels are
senior,
going,
how
no,
that
you're
goes.
not.
You okay?
Well, we'll
Yeah.
have to name
Okay.
I understand.
We'll have to name
Okay.
them tonight.
So-
or they can get a card from the
On this petty cash
their name.
account, we pull out of the general fund and we put in there. There is a limit of 500 on the bank card, and that's a fire department decision. Okay, that's all. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so we need authorized users for this card. How many are you talking? Okay, but if we have a card for the Microsoft out of the general fund account, that is something that would come out of the bill paying, correct?
I'm thinking we're going to lift that off of you.
That's what I'm thinking
That's our
too.
job is to get that off of you. As an administrative cost of running this, I think that's a job that we ought to be doing
Yes.
to our bank, and we'll get a card, get that set up, work with you, we get it funneled, and it just goes on auto pay.
Yeah.
I got you.
No,
And-
yeah,
and
that's
kind of what I'd like to see move
yeah.
forward on that.
Okay, so make a note, Shane, that we will, I don't know how this is going to work and what we're going to have to do. If it's in the past, if that is how that's been set up, if it's coming out of this petty cash account, then we're going to have to amend and regroup on which account it's coming out of and how it's coming. We're going to have to fix that.
We get two separate.
Now this card can't be, if we choose 4 cars to distribute out to our firefighters. Those firefighters that will have the holders of the card might not be available that one day. So they need to be authorized to the rest of the
Well, that's what that's what Marcus and I,
Well,
that's what
I'm saying,
Marcus and I was
yeah,
discussing.
Yeah, I mean,
Do you need more than? I'll pick two. Just you tell
Well,
me.
you got more than 2 firefighters
No,
out there.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, does every firefighter need to have access to go buy something?
No.
That's my thought is. I mean, and I don't
So,
know what you
okay,
do.
so-
No, because usually you've always got.
Has to be a senior on site. I mean, based on what I'm reading here,
3 to 4 of us.
yeah.
So I'm asking you to, I know there's rules and regulations and protocols, I get that. But I'm asking you, as you guys are the ones doing it, you guys are out there, what is going to benefit 3? Is that going to cover? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't either.
No, that's what I'm
I
getting.
don't care for that at all.
I'm looking for the balance where we get you folks what you need.
It gets into
We can defend it.
accountability too. And I don't know how many, Zeb, you could probably clarify this. How many calls typically and normally do we go out on, and while we're on one, we end up getting a second or third call while we're already in the field?
A lot.
So we can always transfer. So if the 4 of us are on a call and we get a call to go somewhere else, we can always take one. If we
But do you always need to expend funds on every call?
We don't have- No.
Oh, that's what I'm trying to get to.
Not
I'm trying to figure
Not
out.
very often.
That's
we
what.
do.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is what
the
unforeseen
main thing
expenses.
it's for is emergencies. Like I'm gonna use this
No,
as
I
an
got that.
example.
Yeah.
We had a fuel pump go out of a truck. They had a fuel pump. We went and paid with a credit card. Turned around, got it put on that night, had the truck up and going.
But if we had 2 seniors with cards, that could have worked under that scenario.
Correct.
I'm just trying to figure out a scenario in which.
We use it for more like an emergency fund
I get
in
that.
case we have to do any issue.
It's
If
not
there's-
something we have to do every call. Like we don't
That's
have to
right.
go to the store every time. we
So
have a
do
call.
you think 2 would work? Okay, I like the sound of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, John. Okay, so
I'm going to defer, Zeb. You tell us who you think needs to have it to make the department flow. Would be my recommendation. I don't want to pick who you've got out.
I would say between me, Marcus, or me and Chad.
okay, so I'm gonna ask. I should know this, but I do not. Zeb is
Chief.
okay, and your assistant, your captain. We have no assistant. Okay.
I would suggest the top officers call incident commander on the scene. Would be these
Okay.
guys where I see
Okay.
I would be the one guys
Okay.
do all the time.
Okay.
I would rather retain that role of making
Okay.
accountable for what money they
And then we come to you if there's a question or a deal.
Absolutely.
I just like to have one. I don't want to go to an individual firefighter and say what's going on. I'll be able to go to somebody in your side of on the fence and say, all right, this is what's going
I
on.
would prefer not to be one of those.
Okay.
fine.
So that would be Marcus and Zeb.
When you make those calls, you know, obviously you documented them, and it was full.
Yeah, but I think there needs to be some board members on there too.
But you know, okay, I spent X amount of dollars on this card.
No, I don't think they
Put
need
that
a
on
card.
there.
They just need to be on there. Okay, so Dawn and I are sitting here on
Sidebar.
this account. Yeah, we're sidebarring here. What is your opinion on? There also needs to be a couple of board members on this.
That is exactly what I was about to ask about. Since we've got two firefighters, one with each card, right?
Yes, and this
About
is coming
getting
out
a
of
board
general
member.
fund. There needs to be board members on this as well.
Yeah,
I don't
agree.
believe. I don't believe the board members need a card.
No. but
Well, if y'all, the thing is,
we would get a card.
Let Chief speak.
well, like y'all's gonna have a card to pay the bills and all like that. It has to be put in one of y'all's names. It can't be put in the fire department.
It's not
Mhm.
corporate. That's right.
Right. So it'll still, y'all will still have to have one in somebody's name on the board for sure.
Within then there needs to be 2 on there at least.
Correct.
Or do you prefer
Well,
all?
so here's my question on that though here's my question on that though, and I'm all for keeping things boxed in so it's real easy just to get the bottom line on it. In terms of what, and we're going to change that term probably down the road, but petty cash, my thought would be that we keep that to the fire force for those emergencies and then put the board on something separate. So that $1,000 or whatever that number is sitting out there for those guys. And then if we determine that the board members for some reason need to go get, and I have no experience, so I can't tell you how often that call gets made, then we solve that a different way.
I would kind of trust both of them with an account.
But not me,
The
right?
firefighter with a card that's responsibility.
Yeah.
No, I don't care the thought of it either.
Yeah, that's
There
fine.
needs to be board members on this account as well.
The board would have cards access.
I would say,
Go ahead.
So there have been times when the firefighters have all been on a call,
Mm-hmm.
right? So to have, if you as a board member, one of y'all or 2 of y'all have one in your name, they needed some kind of emergency supply, whether it's water or whatever, and somebody could go run that errand instead of pulling a responder off of a scene. That benefits y'all in the long run. It gives you that opportunity. Just because you have a card in your name doesn't mean you have to use it.
Exactly.
But better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? So if 2 board members had cards with their names on them, if there was a critical situation, they wouldn't have to leave scene to go get what needed
I
to
agree.
be done. They could just meet y'all or whatever. Like maybe it's a truck that Zeb and Marcus are doing something critical and Chad needs to run up to get gas or get something. Someone could meet him there to pay for it and then he could get back to scene where you don't stop the emergency actions that are taking place.
But do those two, my question is though, does the board, our activity to come out of that same account that the fire force is using?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
Yeah,
no.
That's what I was saying earlier. So yes, I agree that
No.
we need to have a chairman and a treasurer or whatever needs to have the ability to go out and do that to help these guys. But as far as internal audits on that account, to be able to control where the receipts are, so you're not tracking a board member down and saying, "Hey, dude, where's the receipt?" You deal with that on that end. So as far as this petty cash fund goes,
Y'all all have to remember that we're volunteers and we don't get paid monthly to boost our.
We understand.
Yeah,
We're
no, I do.
perfectly
I
clear
do.
on that.
So we got to be careful. I mean, we were 100,000 strong. Now we're at, I don't know. That's later in the
Okay,
video.
but I look at this like this. If I am on this, if I don't have to be, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, if I was one of these on here, and I got a call that these firemen needed something, and I needed to meet one to get that done, I have no issues to doing that. But because that is my card being used, I am the responsible person to get that receipt to you.
Right. As long as it gets to zero.
do we want all those to
As
come
long
out of
as
the
it
petty
gets
cash,
to
or do
who?
we want to set up two board cards out of a different account?
I'd set it up out of the petty cash.
So have it all come out of the same account.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm fine. I'm just asking
Yes.
for.
In there, coming, or you want help.
That's fine.
That is coming out of our portion.
It's
Right.
got to come out of that.
Okay, good. I see where you're going.
Yeah,
fine then.
because basically what it is I'm tied up. I need some help. Can someone get this to me? Because you can't leave the scene. It is the same account. It is the same reasoning. Correct? Are we right? We good on that?
Okay, I understand where you're going.
Okay. So
That's what I'm trying to get, as few people dipping into that account on an ongoing to keep whoever's got to do that's job life and being miserable. That's all I was trying to get to.
well,
And whether that means we put more
would
than 1,000 in it or whatever we do, I'm just trying to keep somebody from having to get a call at 2 in the morning and say, "Hey, I got to have 85."
But that only has to be transferred a month, correct? As needed.
I was going to say as needed.
Okay. Okay. At the approval of the board, correct?
I mean, we may go through a month where there may be $2,500 have to go through that. I mean, I don't understand what that. If we got a month where we got 3 calls, there's probably not going to be anything done on it. But if we got a month where there's 103 calls, we may have situations where there may be more than
Correct.
$1,000. That's all I'm getting. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Which is why we'll be able to.
But I mean, if something breaks down, I'm just going to use this. We've got a truck broke down right now. It's about $1,500. Well, if we can't pay for it out of the county funds, we pay for it out of ours. So we'd have to use the debit card. We have to get a board approval for that $1,500 or whatever it is to get it fixed. Even though we're doing the work ourselves, we just pay for the part.
Okay.
It just depends if they're on the county vendor list or not. And then if it's in the middle of the night and all of a sudden something breaks on it and we can get it fixed, we get it fixed. We just get it done and keep going. No. I ain't doing an engine rebuild.
Well, there's a reason they call it emergency. Right.
All
So,
right, you make it, I'll
okay.
follow it.
So let's work through this motion together and make sure we get it correct. And it's how we, it's got to be proper, but it's got to be what is needed as well. So the motion on the floor is to name Marcus, Zeb. You want 2 board members?
Mm-hmm.
I would say chairman and treasurer. Or, I mean, I don't care.
Okay, so let's name.
I'm here all the time. I mean,
Let's name Dawn. And I got to be on it anyway.
and Janice has to be on it.
I have to be on
I
it.
just think inherently it comes with it.
Right, it
If you're
does
okay with
correctly.
that.
Marcus, Zeb, Dawn, and Johnny's to be signature. To have the signature cards for the petty cash fund. We're good. That's it.
I'll move the motion.
Second.
Who's in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's move.
Yes. Yes.
We're on 13.
Indeed, we are.
guess.
Yes. We're on 13.
He's on 12 for an hour.
13.
Jesus Murphy. Oh. Chief, I guess he puts it. I'm fixing to call a recess. Everybody probably needs a smoke break or a pee break.
So let's do 13 and then we'll go to break.
Okay. As long as it don't last another hour.
Mr. Chairman, I move for the adoption of 13 in its totality as it's presented to the board.
Okay, the only problem with that is though, before we do that, is that is this January 11th a typo? Should that be the 13th? The 11th is on a Saturday.
Look at you.
I checked every date.
Yes, it should be the 13th.
I didn't leave you out.
So it's amendment.
So I will amend my motion to include it as written with the exception of the January meeting to be changed from January 11th to January 13th, 2025. And that includes A and B.
And because all of the others were correct, I went through them one month by month. I'll second that. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That was a pretty quick hour.
Go ahead.
That was just a pretty quick hour right there.
So do you want to recess for 5 minutes?
At least.
Okay.
It'll take me 5 minutes.
There we go.
I'll drain the dragon. 14. We're done
14.
with that.
We're on 14.
Ready to go to 14. Back in session. All right, 14. Treasurer's report.
Do we have a treasurer's report?
Glad you asked that because I was going to be embarrassing when I asked.
Chad, do we have a treasurer's report? We do not.
I have my ledgers.
We have ledgers, but we do not have a treasurer's report at this time. So,
Well, just give the gist of it.
In my county fund, we ended, $1,907.
Okay, break that down for me. That unencumbered.
Our unexpended balance was $1,057.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that we accept Chad's report in lieu of a treasurer's report and accept that as the treasurer's report, as presented.
As of now.
second motion.
We're good. Okay with that?
All right, number 15. Item 15.
Yes.
15.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
And that was okay.
Treasurer's report.
Okay, so I have a quick question on something here since we're on this treasurer report. There was something that was brought to my attention when we were when I was listening to that special meeting at the commissioner's office. They were discussing the run numbers is what they were discussing, and that during that in discussion there was something that was brought to my attention that said it was at 1 hour and 5 minutes and 29 seconds. It was brought up that said that there was no general fund. The money was gone because that's how they paid you guys out of it. So that was my deal was, where is that coming from? I mean, how is that to be true or to be faced? Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It was just something that stood out to me, and I wanted to understand. Well, if there was no general funds, how are we operating? What are we doing? Okay.
Ending on November 30th, the balance was $27,129.51.
Okay, give me that total again, please.
$27,129.51.
Okay.
The beginning balance of the month was $33,288.50. $263.90
The beginning of.
of November.
Okay.
Like the credits and debits.
No.
Okay.
At the I may later on.
Okay.
I just wanted that question answered while we were on that general fund subject and the balance of it, because that's what was stated in the meeting, and I wanted to clarify it.
You're not on a broke ship.
Well, it wouldn't be the first, but I like to have a heads up. So, okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes. Updates from Chad. Troxel.
All right. Citizens Advisory Committee. We do have the information over here on the table. Grab some copies. Somebody that wants to help the department out, be on the committee. Out. I think what we're going to do is meet with as a secretary. If you're saying, "Hey, I need more help," or a treasurer, "We need more help," let's turn to the community on board, give ideas, about.
I got ideas, but hell, you might not like them.
Item B, the 501c3, that is contingent on the hiring of the CPA, which we're going to get a audit before we start saying, "Hey, we would like our nonprofit status." We want to have an audit.
So, what happened to our nonprofit?
That was way before my time.
Anybody know?
Didn't file the required taxes and paperwork with the IRS, and it was.
Chad, clarify before your time. You're here. How long is that?
2 years.
Thank you. I'm just trying to put a frame of reference. That's all.
I'm thinking he got lost.
Just lack of attention, lack of. Okay.
So we've been functioning for a while without it, so we got some time here to get in here and get this set up and get it going.
Okay.
All right.
Hiring of the CPA, we talked about that. John has somebody in mind. Membership information.
Okay, on that C of hiring, I know that John made the comment earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, if I misunderstood him, that he made the comment that we could go outside of the state for that, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe the board, we could look back.
We do need to figure that out. What the up to is, it would be helpful down the road as we move forward. If you, and I don't need it tonight. We're not making a decision, but it would be very helpful to know what previous had been established.
The hiring of a CPA and getting this audit done is the 501c is contingent on that, correct?
I think it would be in our best interest before we apply for it. Make sure that our votes are in order.
Okay.
Because if we're going to have to be filing anything with IRS, do that smoothly without any problem. I'd rather have the problems identified.
How much is that? CPA. And if we do that, can we get it? Can we get it from the county fund?
Yes, that is what John said earlier, that it could come out of the county would do that. Yes. Okay. Okay, keep going, Chad. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Before I want to go back to D, membership. There are 458 members of. Okay, I'm not split hairs with you, but I'm trying to get the terminology. When you say properties,
One person could have 4 cabins.
okay, so we're talking about cabins.
So out of everything up here that's setting up here, all you have is 458 that's paid membership. Why is that? Point of order, please. Why is that?
I let Howard speak on this.
No, we've
No.
got to keep a point of order here.
Well, this is.
What we're looking
Subject.
at is a problem in finding who these
Or,
Okay.
okay,
because they may be in Alaska or Australia or
right.
Okay.
you know, and getting a proper address because you can't just say, hey, we're sending this information out to 7 wavy pine. It's mailed there.
Okay. So
Okay.
and I understand everything you just told me. So one of the things that one of the commitments that I'll make, because this is kind of where I thought this was going to land. It's actually, frankly, a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. I mean, we've got 106, and so what I want to see come out of this, and I think one of the focuses on the Citizens Advisory Committee where it could come in, is to make this a big focus within the management companies. I don't expect you guys to go door to door and figure out where these owners are. There's enough of us in here. We're not going to get you all of them, but I would say in 90 days that thing ought to be able to be doubled.
Always going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
And I can tell
If you try to do it, it will be.
Right.
Those of us that are in the business that do it for a living have the ability to probably shorten that up.
real estate transactions, buying and selling.
Be careful.
911 Hochatown Fire. 911 Hochatown Fire. Can we please have first responders out to 506 Chestnut Branch Trail? That is 506 Chestnut Branch Trail. From high blood pressure. Our ambulance is going to be coming from Idabel. Can y'all please first respond? Your time is 20:33. You copy this request. Thank you, Hochatown Fire. 911 back to 911 channel.
Be careful.
Be safe, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
I can't recognize you. It's not my.
I went to the water department and asked for
And to Chad's point is those water meters are going to be embedded. The address will be at the address of the water meter, which will get us nowhere because there's not a mailbox. Our cabins don't take mail. We don't take UPS deliveries. But I sure know who owns 106 of them, and I know somebody that owns 150 of them, and I know somebody else that's got control of 132 of them. So that is what I'm saying is we're not going to do this tonight to move this along. But one of the things I think that we can do as an industry is come in here and help you guys help us by taking that and kind of pushing that, taking that away.
Because most of these, if correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, most of these are not. They're probably not even aware of this membership that they could pay. That would.
Oh, my owners aren't. I'm just guilty as the next. I'm not throwing a rock at anybody in the room.
Because
we haven't.
How does this
but we
work?
can.
If you have membership and I have a fire, if I'm a member and I have membership on all of my properties up here. If I have a fire and I need you, you come out.
We would go out regardless.
Period. Yes. But if you come out and I do not have this membership, which is how much? Per property, $35 a year per property, then I am responsible as the property owner to pay the bill that you come out to do. Correct. You can be billed.
And
So it would be to the property owner's benefit
absolutely.
to do this. Yeah, and I think that's where some of this is not. I personally, if I was cabin management, I would not hand over to any of you the addresses, just like the water department, because of the privacy thing. But I might be willing to send out, if you would bring to me postage paid or something, letters or something, and they can address them themselves if they're ready to go. That might be something, and I'm just talking here to see that we could get them to do, to let them know.
I just need a PDF. I can have it in the hands of all of them. Absolutely.
Because it's to everybody's benefit. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I was just on a side note. We'll come back to this later. I want to get with fire over here. I just need a PDF, and I'll start working with management companies, and that's part of what I will take on, and as a part of the board, because it's what I do for a living. and approach the big ones and see if we can get this moved.
And it's going to benefit someone in the management to work with the management. That's a huge, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Item E kind of falls in that billing.
Okay, so when you're talking about billing needed for this, you're talking about things that you've already went out to, correct?
Well, I stood next to you on 2 fires in the last 30 days, and I'll guarantee you those 2 did not have they weren't members of this organization, I'll promise you. And so I know exactly what we're talking about, and so we can work on that.
Okay.
Items. That's further down on
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Item 22.
They probably wanted me to explain what we do is put dollar amounts back on the consent. Does not necessarily mean like I open $1,000 for cyclopropane. We may not even need propane. We're reauthorizing that so that we have to get a PO. Don't want to bill after the fact. Pre-approved.
Okay.
I'll let you have what the outstanding purchase orders are. Opened up ahead of time.
Okay.
You may get copies of it.
Yes, please.
For regular reoccurring bills, electric bill, water bill,
Right.
things that we have to pay. So the POs are open regularly.
Because the county those go to the county to come out of county funds. Yes.
That's where that requisition and purchasing.
Yeah.
Officers come in.
Okay.
Chad, Don, I think if I'm wrong, correct me. I think Don was asking a question that can those be set up on auto pay, or is it individual have to be PO'd for
Right. Okay.
at that time?
That's what
Is
I
this-
was.
is that a
That's
county
what I
rule?
was thinking too.
That's fine. Yeah. That's what
Yes.
I was wondering. Okay.
Yes.
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I wondered based on where the money comes
Yeah,
from.
I kinda
It's a
mentioned it.
PO, so it has to be.
Correct.
Yes.
So you have to be,
Yes.
you have to plan ahead
with those.
taxpayer money.
Yeah.
Not a run out and just buy right now.
Right. Right.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That sort of answer that well. Once we submit, I open POs ahead of time. That back to the clerks, to the commissioners.
Okay.
That's sort of that process. It's not a very fast one.
But we are getting those in time to get back to be paid in time,
Yeah.
since it is a process, and it can be a lengthy process
It is a
sometimes.
lengthy process.
Yes.
You have to stay on top of it.
Okay.
You will get behind.
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board receive Chad's report as presented and entered into the minutes.
I'm dragging this out. Okay. Next.
I second the motion.
Does someone need to take over where? Okay.
You got it.
Okay.
So we got a motion by Dawn to accept as received. Shane seconded. Tony's,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Shane.
Yes.
All right, what are we on now? 16. Discuss and possible action authorizing chief or assistant chief to obtain mutual aid agreement with other county departments. Chief, what's your thoughts?
So all of our mutual aids are almost up. We're gonna have to go out and get mutual aids again this year.
Explain to me what that is.
So
please.
mutual aids is where we can ask for help from other departments.
Okay.
To get help from them to come in and help fight fires or whatever we need help on.
And then we agreed in return to reciprocate to
Right.
them. It's a two-way street.
Right.
Yes.
Correct.
That's the mutual.
It'd be good and done.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we move forward and allow Zeb and his designee, the assistant chief, to move forward and obtain mutual aid agreements with other county departments.
I'll second that.
All in favor, aye. Yeah, name.
Johnny,
Yes.
Shane,
Yes.
Don,
Aye.
Moving on. 17. Discussion of possible action to authorize the hiring of a CPA or auditor to perform audit or local hold accounts, bank accounts. We
So
kinda
this-
discussed that earlier.
This is
but
going back to the CPA we're discussing, correct? So, discussion and possible action, we've pretty much been discussing it all evening. In hiring of a CPA,
is that you don't know who you're hiring. or
so
how
it
much,
cannot. That's
so
exactly
either
right.
Table or no action.
I don't have enough information to do anything.
Yeah.
Personally,
No,
I
I think-
Mr. Chairman, I would
I
motion we
think-
table it.
I'll make that motion to table that because there needs to be, with stipulations in it, that there needs to be further investigation. We do not have one found yet. We can't hire what we do not find. We don't have found.
I'll second that motion.
Motion to table, second by, motion to table by Johnny, second by Don. Johnny,
Yes.
all in favor and roll call.
Yes.
Don.
Aye.
Motion is tabled.
18.
18. Updates from Shane. Put the policy. Firefighter. Answering calls and runs.
Yes. The conflict of interest policy that is needed for grants and for the 501c3. We have, Chad, you have copies of those? Am I correct? I don't think I got it. These are needed, desperately needed for guys to have grants.
So if I understand what you're telling me, Shane, you have a written policy that you are going to ask this board to adopt. Okay, just making sure I understand where we're going.
Ms. Marcus stepped out. Board will allow a clarification.
I will allow that.
The IRS has a suggested policy, and that's what you have in front of you.
Okay.
It is a suggested policy for conflict of interest with board members, firefighters, or whomever else is part of the organization. Basically, what it says, and there's some signature pages on the end, that each person who is a firefighter or a member of the board or serving on a committee at time, saying that they will not financially gain any of the duties that they are in or any of the about. Once this policy is accepted by the committee and by the board, then it becomes a policy for the board and the functioning. At that point, it meets the criteria to get a 501c3 status and help keep everything above board.
You just read Chinese.
Okay,
Basically,
Shane.
it means you won't make money off of what the board or what the fire department.
So, this is something that needs to be done because of,
For grants, that way there's no conflict showing it. finances, you know, gaining finance. We're not getting anything out of it. This is for the fire department.
Okay.
Shane, do you know if the county has any other, does this for any other departments? Does the county have one that they have that they're currently using? Do you know?
They have them, they're not signed by everyone as
So the county does have language, though, that they're currently using. Have.
language.
Should be used.
They're not using.
Understood.
Okay. I
But
get
should we do it the right way?
Yeah, and all I'm getting at is I love you having this. This is great. I'd like to see also. I guess what I'm saying to the board is I'd like to see what the county has. I want to make sure that once we sign one, we are at a minimum matching, if not exceeding, what they're doing. And I want to make sure that we don't leave something off that the county may have, if that makes sense. I have no problem matching the county, and I have no problem beating them. What we hold ourselves accountable. So, Mr. Chair, what I would motion on. Oh,
Y'all are still on 18.
Well, I was going to say we have to do them all. I'm just going to do A. You want to do A, B, and C together?
That's just information.
Okay. So we're just going to sit on it. All right.
So the stipend, the way the stipend works is, the current stipend for the Hochatown Volunteer Fire Department is at $20 per call. Stipend is a nominal payment, often a fixed amount per drill or response. Volunteers' expenses. These are regardless of the types of calls or the time that is spent on a call. Our proposal is to increase the stipend from $20 per call to $25 per call. 44 of the 102 firefighters who died in the line of duty in 2020 were all volunteers. The majority of the fire departments in the United States are volunteers, comprised of 65%. The amount paid per call can vary greatly depending on rural areas, urban areas, cities, towns. Other factors that play a part in the determination of a population goes, your chances of wildfires. Texas volunteer firefighters receive $25 per call and training session. Stipend is not based on types of calls, as it would be if your employer paid you differently for every different task you perform. Yes, we're not talking about an hourly rate. If the department responds to a call and they're only there for 20 minutes, and then we're called to a wreck for 4 hours, the amount for that stipend remains the same. It doesn't matter your time frame. If we get a call, like these guys just got this call, and they had to come to the department, that would be $25 at this task. If we went home and we turned right around and we had to come back up a day later or traffic accident and we were up here for 4 hours, that remains the same. That amount remains the same. It does not increase. It is not an hourly.
But it is per tone.
Exactly. It's per call, per time. So when the guys are up here, when Chad, Marcus, Zebenar, and Joseph are all up here for hours on end, I know we spent 3 or 4 hours here and there. They spend probably the amount of time up here. That doesn't go into that equation. There's no stipend for that.
There has to be a tone.
Stipend is only for toned out calls. Yes, sir. That way there's a record of it for every time that call is toned out, and that way we can keep track of exactly, see exactly how that.
And training falls under this also. So
training sessions and training sessions and calls. That's what Texas does.
Sorry. Let me bring this up. Our account is getting depleted very quickly.
You're talking about as far as the stipend goes? Chad, where's the stipend come
That's
from?
where this money's coming from. It's our communities volunteer money, and we get a lot of extra. You know, some of them. So that's where that's coming out of. At that meeting on Thursday. Okay. They kept saying it's coming out of the county fund. No, it's not coming out of the county fund. It's coming out of
Okay, so that was the point that I was asking Chad and Marcus about a while ago, is that in that meeting it was stated that the general fund was out of money, and it's not. They just proved that. I understand it's getting low. I understand that, and I understand that.
100,000 a year and a half ago.
But you also have to understand, for 11 months, you've had no treasurer reports or anything that should have been running as smooth as this office and this fire department should be. That's something that we need to take in consideration as well. That, because we've got to get this on track, because you've got stuff that's not been happening that could have been happening. This place has not been able to do business as usual because of board meetings not being done, people not showing up. And I think this is where, I understand it's low. It's low to me. I get that. I understand that. But that is to be expected. I didn't come in here blinded. I didn't come in here without knowing, because I've said on several that when there is not business at hand being taken care of, you can't, this is what happens. And so that's where, with Shane talking about he needs this so we can do what we need to do. We got grants we need to look into. We got things like that. But because business as usual has not been taking place, this account has not had nothing going in to keep it up or boosting it. And so it is going to get low. Okay.
For instance, we just got toned out. How many people went?
Two.
So on a call,
Who was the young gentleman that was here? Was he a firefighter? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the two.
Oh, those were the two.
That's
That's right.
Marcus. Yeah. So when we get toned out, we're not at a board meeting and we're at home or we're on the road or wherever. We get toned out. We're coming from a lot of different areas. There's times Harris to come to us. All right, and it's also at the chief's discretion on who shows up. How many people do you need on that scene? So if we get a call for something that we need people, you're not going to have 10 people show up on that call and pay $25 for each
Correct.
person. The chief it's his discretion and his foresight that's going to get the appropriate amount of people to those scenes without everybody showing up at every call and making money. So it's important because, like I said, it's not like we're all right next to the station. We're traveling from different areas to be here for the community and to be able to go out on these calls. So I believe it's very important, and it's something we can, put it at 25 for now, and then if we need to, we can always come back later and say, okay, well, we invested at this point. Even now, the numbers of our firefighters is dramatically lower than it was. We're still not pulling near as much out of those funds as if we had 30 people responding to calls.
So something else on that. They were asking the other departments, what do they compensate their volunteer firefighters? And Broken Bow
Audubell
they
pays.
ask volunteers.
Audubell, I've got that wrote down. Yes, it did. He's right. It did. I got it right here for you. It come up in the meeting at 1 hour and 5 minutes and 29 seconds. They're talking about the general funds at 105.40. Audubell, Miss Tina Foshi Thomas said that, and she verified it at 104. Audubell gets $15 a run. Broken Bow pays for their volunteers as well. Not all volunteer firemen do get paid for this. Broken Bow does, but no one in this meeting ever stated what Broken Bow got. I've watched this meeting and rewound and rewound. I almost have it by heart memorized. I'll give it to you. Remind me. What was the special meeting last week?
They leave their job. and most of them, correct me if I'm wrong, they're from Broken Bow.
So, but
That's
Idabel,
a long.
a lot of the volunteer firemen do not.
Now, Idabel and Broken Bow, they live around the corner.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'm embarrassed that frankly it's 20 or 25. These men, and I'm going to use the men and women. I mean, we're asking them to go in. I'm going to crawl into a house and drag me out. And I respect that and understand it and appreciate it. So I'm kind of embarrassed that it's only 25. Truthfully,
It's
I mean,
20 right now.
I understand. Yes, I'm embarrassed that and I get it. I understand the fiscal constraints and what we're working on. I'm going to commit to do what we can do and get the money in, and I think I'm good with the 25.
These
I'll go
guys
on.
need to be compensated a lot more.
Okay, I thought you were
But
against
we
that. I was reading
have
here.
to
Okay, all
be
right.
prepared. I mean, as many calls as they make, good Lord, how much was it last month?
Well, here's what I did: is I took the 72 calls. If we average 3 firefighters on the call, and incrementally more $5, we're already out to 20. Incrementally more is going to be $1,080 a month. Okay.
Anyway,
Easy for me to do.
I don't want to get to the point where we're so damn broke that when they make calls now, they can't be compensated.
No, we won't get that point. Yeah, I will commit. I think the rest of this board will commit. We're not going to get to that point, Mr. Chairman. I promise you. We're going to put people in here. We're going to work. We're going to get it funded. We're going to get the funds managed, and we're going to pay these firefighters. I'm good to go.
Forward,
So that is 19.
No, ma'am,
That was
18B.
18B.
Okay, that's
Tell me about 18C.
18C is training for board members. Per the settlement from the lawsuit, Greg has 3 months for training, and all new board members have 6 months for training. We're going to see about getting classes brought in again for Open Records Act and Open Meetings Act. That way everybody can get through this training and see exactly how things are ran. Future training, having other boards come in and present a meeting so the board can be established on the procedures for Meetings Act, Robert's Rules, and
What is your request that this board do with everything you just said on 18?
okay.
I see. Here we go. I understand it now. I got it.
So you're asking for the approval. Do you want it to continue the stipends, right?
No, ma'am.
We're on
number 19.
We're
is
on
for
conflict
the
of interest.
Right.
conflict of interest
Yeah, so
policy.
But
those
that is
individuals.
referring. Okay.
But to those individuals.
Okay.
That's what I
Okay.
just figured out. Sorry. So, Mr. Chairman, at the risk of kicking the can, I would like to see what the county's conflict of interest policy is. I'll take it upon myself to find out. I'm highly in favor of this. I think it ought to be mandatory and required as becoming a part of the board. It should be required at the county level. But I would like to look and see what the county has put in place and verify that we are at a very minimum meeting their minimum requirements, although they didn't present me one when I was down in the office. Yes, sir, but it is not with the intention of getting rid of it. It is the intention of making sure that when we come back together as a body next month, I fully plan on moving the acceptance and signature of this. But I do want to just check with the county what they have.
So it's been tabled once before.
Understood. That's right, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine.
Yes.
I'm not against it. I want to be clear. I'm motioning that we table this until we can.
Tony's?
Yes.
Yes.
20?
Ready?
Yeah.
Discussion and possible action to approve.
Okay, so I have some concerns with this too, because in that same meeting where they are talking about that the general fund did not have no money, it was also stated that there wasn't even sure if this was in the minutes of anywhere going all the way back that this had even been approved to do.
Many years ago, and Greg was the vice chair, so it has been a practice for
The 20.
the 20. It was 15, and
Mhm.
then was increased to 20,
Mhm.
and so now this motion is to increase it from 20.
Right. The concern out is that it's not in any minutes because it could not be found. So would it be, I just want to state this up front. I am not against these stipends. Am I saying that right? I am not against that. I feel just like Don does on that. But I would like to cover everyone sitting here. I would like to find these minutes and make sure that this is there.
The 20 is there.
No, that the approval to pay the stipends is there. That's the question at hand. I'm not questioning. There has been some questioning, and we need to verify that for everybody here.
So let me ask you this. In lieu of not knowing that, at this time, if we just establish the policy that they will be paid $25, that should.
Well, first of all, you got to
Solid.
make sure it's there before you can establish it, and that's not how this
what
is.
is
That it's been approved to begin with.
there? That the 20 was approved.
No, that the stipend itself was approved.
I understand. I did. So we're saying the same
When
thing.
if it was 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago,
But this
somewhere.
board would have the ability just to say, assuming it's not there, to say we're now going to pay our firefighters a $25 stipend per tone, and that would cover that. Would you agree? We could do it that way. With no precedent, let's say it is or it isn't. If we could just start right now and say we never did it, and just say we're going to put this policy into play and make it work.
So amend this motion
That's what we have to do.
a dollar amount, or that you have proof that it was approved, or to amend. You have to kind of figure out which way you want to do that. Is it that in absence of having any kind of minutes for it, that you just amend this motion and
We're starting
say you get her back?
We're
Sign
good. Okay,
in,
we're
you
good.
have to stay
All right,
there.
as long as we're fine, that's good.
Okay, that needs a second.
I'll second that motion.
Favor and roll call.
All right, Johnny's,
Yes.
Shane,
Yes.
Don.
All right.
Passed. 22 consent docket.
22. Ready.
Who's doing that? Are you doing that?
Consent document for the board and will be acted separately.
No items I want pulled.
A, approval of local general account payment claims. Item 1, unless state's post office not to exceed $150, airback Medicare not to exceed $1,200, just form not to exceed $50. Oh, okay. Tripping payments to volunteer firefighters. The approval of county ledger payment claims. Ace Hardware proposal not to exceed $500. Adobe not to exceed $25. Petty cash card. AD Superstore Cardio Partners not to exceed 1,000. AT&T FirstNet not to exceed $600. Casco not to exceed $1,750. Choctaw Electric not to exceed 1,000. Cyclocoprane not to exceed 1,000. 7-Eleven MasterCard not to exceed 1,500. Fueling only. Hochatown Rural Fire District number 5 not to exceed 450. Janitor's Local Supply not to exceed 500. Jiffy Lube not to exceed 500. Golden West not to exceed 500. Lumber not to exceed 500. Microsoft not to exceed 250. Petty cash. Outport Radio not to exceed $300. Office and hand not to exceed $100. OSU fire training not to exceed 4,000. Parts house not to exceed 2,500. Line telephone internet not to exceed $350. And Riggs Albany attorneys reconcile.
So I'm understanding on these amounts, firefighters are very understand.
right behind you, okay, man? Sorry about this. I had them charged it and everything. Guess they can't go on for that long.
Review and accept chief's report. Run calls, equipment, purchase needs, department people, usage status, mutual aid agreement with Davis County Department. Keep on call.
So this month we had 71 calls.
That's what I need. Five guys.
I had 42 calls. Marcus had 61 calls. Daniel had 1. Cody had 1. Shane had 4. Chad had 53. Joseph had 23. Cody Popper had 9.
No interest, you got it?
No increase. We do have a truck down right now that we're gonna have to get some parts for. Don't know the exact cost yet on the parts.
What's wrong with it?
We'll get the rest of the truck. My pressure.
Y'all use them, though.
We do also need to purchase a computer to host a OMA automation, not to exceed $500.
Oh, and they, what is that?
That's for the website, for everything to go on, where anybody can pull it up and see all of our stuff, you know, the records.
Do you think you can purchase that computer, you've done into that proportion, and that is that going to meet the need, or is it gonna give you future satisfaction with future things? Is it something, because I know sometimes you just put a Band-Aid on it.
It's just pretty much putting a Band-Aid on it, try to get it.
Okay, so we would be better off trying to go up with that maybe to
Hey.
get it so we wouldn't have to put a Band-Aid on it? Would we be better off in the future?
I believe we were looking at some of Dell's refurbished. So if we could try to maybe find one that's a decent setup, but a refurbished unit to save money.
Okay, so I have a question. Am I allowed to ask someone that might know something about that and saving money?
It depends on whether it's a scratch or a cut. You know, so sometimes it's better to just go ahead and fix it.
I'm gonna put him on the spot, but I'm gonna ask Scott over here on a computer, only because of the computer man. Would we be better off refurbished, or would we be better off going ahead and just trying to up a little bit so we don't just put a Band-Aid on it as far as refurbished versus new?
Is this a laptop or like a CPU that is, like a?
It's gonna be a server to host
Okay.
like our data for
You
like
can do that
open
for
records.
$500?
They'll have some pretty cheap refurbished. Yeah.
It's all based on apple and oranges, apple to apples with money. I mean, are you in a situation where you can let go a little bit more money? Or do you just need to do the Band-Aid at the moment so you can get on your feet?
Okay, so that's a good question. Are we in a position that we could turn this up a little bit more to try to
It
fix it
depends if it
properly?
would be coming out of county funds or out of general funds. Depends on which way it would be coming out of, because I don't know if the county funds would be able to cover it.
I'm all for saving
Right.
money, and I appreciate that out of you.
If the board would like, I can check and see if we do have a county vendor, because that is an operational issue. And
Because I'm all for saving the money. I'm not trying to spend money that's not mine. That is not my point. My point is, I know sometimes if we are better off, if you spend the $500 on the refurbish and it's not gonna be what we need, then we've wasted the $500, then we'd be better off putting a little bit with that and going that.
if the board would like, and we go ahead and up that amount, and I can try and utilize county funding, and
Do you need to know an amount before you can utilize that? Or can you, I mean, before you check into that, or can you check into that to see what they might allow on that?
they don't limit us
Okay.
on that. You know, it's what is your need, you know.
How much is this board, right, how much is the board willing to let go to, if we can't find a county vendor? Does the computer have any more function other than running this one application?
website, database,
It's just a server that just sits there. Is that with PCI compliant?
email. It probably does because we may have membership information on there.
Information you want to follow through.
Right. So I would say we do need to be PCI compliant to make sure that people's information is safe.
Yeah, the information is.
Has to be safe.
It's got to be safe. So, your opinion on this, you'd be better off doing
Let's just.
Or should we explore more on
I'm
this?
just explore, and if you come back and say for $931.18, we can get this, we can get rid, it can be PCI'd, and it is expandable if we need to.
I agree.
Would you like some specifics, maybe?
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to look into that. I'm not trying to hold you off that by
Right.
any means, but I'm
Right.
trying to get what you need to benefit you better.
I'll look at possible vendors and also maybe put together some specifics as far as what we're looking at and what that machine would do. Would that be fine?
That is, yeah, that is fine with me. And you know, I don't wanna, I know you're volunteer, I know your plate is full, but we get that, then we can make decisions on it.
Okay, we can do that.
Everything you need to do is purchase another new, gas chainsaw. And you also need to purchase 3 new sawzalls with spare batteries, wood and metal plates.
You have cost estimate.
Zeb, did we already buy one of the sawzalls? So we need 3 more or 2 more now?
2 more.
2 more now? Do you remember the cost of those?
Don't we use our sawzalls for
Extrication.
And you're needing those immediately.
That's county funds, correct? Okay.
So you're just, okay. Making sure I'm understanding, I don't know if you. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Madam Chair,
get a PO or anything for that.
As a clarification, Chad, is that already in what they just approved the vendor for the Sawzall? Is that,
No.
that's not in there, so that's additional?
It's not in the consent docket.
Okay. Make sure it's right there.
We had a guy attend the county fire meeting this month. Or, no. We did have somebody attend the county fire meeting as well. And 202 is down. Which we'll get a price on that. That'll be pretty much a rush, trying to get, as soon as we get the part, we'll get it pulled in and we'll change it out here. We can take it and spend thousands of dollars on it, or we can do it ourselves for half the price. Just for the part, for us to do it ourselves. We're not having to pay labor to throw in the place. We actually broke down on the road to a run a week ago. I believe it was. We had it brought back to the station and hooked up. Still brought back to the station.
Do we have any legal liability if we do the work on it versus having an ASC certified mechanic? Just making sure that it, I know how we deal with fireplaces and cabinets, you guys.
Right.
I just want to make sure that you're good with it.
And we've added 2 new firefighters. Cody Copper and Jim Flynn. Back to the roster.
They've been on the
Shane has, Cody has not, he has been on previous one. We are still running at 100% answer rate for 2024 on our calls. Our total calls for the year
do we get you the substance? It's one thing to accept your report, what do we need to do to get them so you get it to us?
Give us an approval, we go down to Ace or
Okay, I just
wherever
think
we
sure,
got.
before I vote, I want to.
Right, and then we'll fill out a county form. Yeah. We have to get approval for an amount from y'all. So let's say, I think it was right around 450.
I may be able to get those cheaper.
But we usually go above that a little bit, so we can cover. Not necessarily like this,
We ain't gotta have all three right off the bat. If we can get one more right now, that would help out great since we got the rest of you down. If we can get one more solved off, we can put it in the engine.
But from a responder's point of view, the others would be limited.
Correct.
Is there any financial benefits in us kicking it down the road? I mean, the expense is gonna come where you're gonna have the income, or where, if we don't have it today, we're not gonna have it in February, right?
Yeah.
I say if we need them, let's get them. So how do we have to do it?
Not to, I would say not to exceed, I'll say $1,500. Whatever y'all would agree upon, not to exceed.
I'm gonna defer to
Or
you,
the sawzalls,
so
and not to exceed so much, but it takes so much.
Is that 1,500 the sawzall and the chainsaws?
I would say 2,000 between sawzall and chainsaw.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
So my question is, I'm asking for the procedure here. We need to accept the chief's report, and then we need to have a separate motion to authorize him to spend the money, or does the authorization have to do with this, accept the report?
The second part, what you just said, so as you accept the report, you authorize that to do
Yes.
Okay, I don't mind doing two, but.
because it's only one item on the agenda.
I would move, Mr. Chairman, that we accept the chief's report and authorize the expenditure of up to $2,000 for 3 sawzalls and wood blades, metal blades, and a gas-powered chainsaw.
I will second that motion.
All favor, roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
Shane?
Yes.
Dawn?
Merry Christmas.
Motion passed. Item 24.
Thank you, Chris.
Item 24.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on him to stop.
Oh, no, you go, I'm moving, you don't wait on me, you keep going.
24, discussion of possible action to authorize official Hochatown Volunteer Fire Department volunteer or firefighter personnel to bill non-members for service provided.
So we discussed this earlier, right, Cody?
Chad?
Chad, sorry.
Yes, we had discussed, bringing
But there
in
is some
additional.
backfilling that needs to
Yes.
be done.
Yes. And this is authorizing someone that's a non-member, somebody from the community volunteering to help that board member or to get all of that done. It may be a big task.
We're not authorizing to bill the people, we're gonna do it, you're authorizing to get a helper out.
Correct.
I got a nomination, Bill McCain. Would normally want to assist that. In this nomination.
Are you looking for just one volunteer, just to kind of help, looking for whatever?
Let's look at we can look at the stuff and
see
kind of
maybe what it's gonna
determine
take.
through committee how many people we think we might need to tackle that. I don't want to overwhelm any one person.
We don't want to overwhelm you either, so that.
True.
This
Correct.
makes perfect sense.
But,
Spread the responsibility.
We can look at that and see, maybe it's 2 people, 3 people working on it together.
Okay, I am good with that. I'm gonna make the motion that we take action to, to call in Bill McCain to help with that. Let's see. So the motion is to authorize an official Hochatown volunteer, and
got through to me, so you're good. Yeah, I'll leave in second.
Good. All in favor, roll call.
Johnny,
Yes.
Kenny, Don, any motion carries. Number 25, the Cato grant.
Discuss possible action to apply for CARES grant.
Okay, this is through Keto, an equipment replacement grant that we would just like permission to apply for.
Let's pretend for just like a real quick minute that someone in this room might not know what KEDO means.
Kamichi Economic Development,
As far
that's
as
about, yeah.
Organization.
I got it. Get the gist of who this was.
The people with the money.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So there's money out there, we'd like to apply to try to get some grants.
How does this grant work?
Pretty much, this is a pretty simple one to fill out. It's through, I believe, forestry. That's a division of Keto. It's a reimbursement grant. So what you do is you apply for it. You have to get the loan for it. They give you a PO, and then they reimburse you back to pay for it.
We know what we got before we go.
Right. We're gonna.
We know we're getting the grant before we
No, this is only to authorizing us to do the paperwork to apply for the grant.
Before we make the expenditure.
Right.
We will know from KEDO.
Yes, absolutely. We will not buy anything without, knowing. Correct.
Do you know what the limit or the amount is on that
There
grant?
is no limit on the grant. We're looking at a replacement for our engine. So they have told us not to get something that requires a lot of work or that could break down in a year. So we're probably looking at, what limit did you say, Zeb?
450 or 500,000 is what we were looking at. So my next question is then, no offense intended, staff feels comfortable with the ability to do this? Does staff require any assistance to do this from a board member? If y'all want to jump in and help out on filling out the paperwork, we filled out one already. Actually, Chad filled out one already. I'm good, I just don't want to put the burden on you guys if there's something.
Right.
Yeah, that was my question too. You guys are aware
How about
of
we get a
what
copy to you so you can look it over? Right. A lot of it is specific information that only the fire department's gonna be able to answer anyways. But you know what? You're a board member authorizing something. How about we get a copy so you can see what it is that we're applying for?
Yeah,
The
I would-
terms
that
and
I would
such.
appreciate. I would-
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna represent you guys have to, I mean, if you see opportunities so we can go down and do what you think, please help.
Okay.
Yeah, so good on you for doing that. I commend you for finding those resources.
So motion to allow them.
I will move, Mr. Chairman, that, we allow a designee from the fire department to pursue this grant, and we allow them to request assistance from anybody they need.
I'll second that.
All in favor, roll call.
Johnny,
Yes.
Kenny, Don. Motion passes. Item 26.
26, when you're ready. Discussion and possible action to accept 80/20 CARES grant.
Okay, this is the last Keto grant we applied for has been approved. We have a state purchase order in hand.
With this one we're discussing
With
now?
this one, this is what they call the 80/20 grant. The cap on that grant is a reimbursement of $20,000.
And so you've got the 20,000 in hand?
So
We have the purchase order.
we have the purchase order for that, but the way it works is you have to spend $25,000 or more. You submit the paperwork, and then they will reimburse us $20,000.
So you're just out the 5.
So we would end up being just out the 5,000. Now, when you're talking about what we're applying this for is a tanker. And I believe we had authorized up to how much, Zeb? Do you remember? 150,000. That was on some previous minutes. Y'all need, we'll have to get a copy of that. We were gonna apply that money, those monies towards the purchase of that tanker. And I know we probably need to get some notes and minutes so to bring it, you guys up to speed.
And a balance, so that's a net 130 highway.
So-
Do we have 100? I'm just curious, where's the 130 come from?
We would have to seek a
Loan. So right now, this action is only saying that we're accepting that, we have it in hand. Now, there's gonna have to be subsequent actions by the board to now seek funding to pay for the rest of it.
Okay, so so this is this an uncompleted item?
Yes.
So this goes back
Correct.
to previous, so when, do you know what, just,
The board authorized this back in,
I want to say either August or September, maybe July.
Authorize the execution of the loan.
for the board to seek a loan, and that's never happened.
okay, so it's done, been approved to do, it's just not out there on anything, correct?
Correct. No one has completed the paperwork to go get the loan for that tanker.
So where's the 130, it's coming from the loan?
The loan.
Which it may not, that's just to go up to
Up to, we can,
130, but we may be able to find something for around, let's say 60,000, 70,000 that will fit in to everything that we need. But it's just a
Okay.
loan, trying to get our base on a loan purchase, see how much they'll loan up to. Right.
And the loan is,
has not been started.
has it been started, but who's responsible for that?
The board. Shane, no.
So we got till March to have this one.
So thank you.
That was my next
Where I was
question,
gonna go.
when, how far
We have time to get things
We got
organized.
till March, but we can always file for an extension, but we have to know in advance that we need to file for an extension.
do you know how many days in advance you have to file?
I think we have to file it by February, if I'm not mistaken.
So we gotta go borrow $130,000.
Or see how much they'll loan, see how much they'll loan up.
Which I'm assuming comes from a private lending institution.
Yes.
Or local bank?
I'm just trying to figure out where we're borrowing from who. Okay. Fine.
It could come from a local institution. I can't remember the wording on it, which I mean, if it needed to be changed, I'm pretty sure it could. It could come from another institution that's not local.
Now, let me ask you on that note. Has this, the board approved that, but has that documentation been sent down to commissioners? That's another thing that needs to be done.
Because they have to approve it, being it is
I
over
was wondering if we
25,000.
had to have approval to go in indebtedness.
For bids.
Okay, two different things.
Right.
I understand the bid part.
Yeah.
Do we have to see county okay to go in debt?
Go ahead.
So there's three parts to this grant. The first one is that they've applied for it, they've been given it, but you'll have to accept that they can use it. Then you have to see what you're gonna buy, seek bids, that goes through the county. Because you're gonna become indebted, but you also have to do it if it's over a certain dollar amount with county approval. And then if you're going to go in debt, that needs approval through them and then whatever lending institution. And the timeline is kind of where they are right now with the grant that's been awarded for the fee, but it hasn't been accepted by the board. So that's stepped on this line on here
And
now,
accepting it sets forth the process of the,
of being able to do the research and to get on the board agenda for the county commissioners and all those next steps. This is the first of that has to be done before you can do the next one.
It does not obligate the board to execute that grant.
step three and step four.
because it has to be finalized by March. But then you have time in between in those January, February, and other March meetings to continue or to back out of that if you decide we're not gonna spend that kind of money and we don't have, nobody's gonna sign for that loan, then you have the opportunity to say, we're just gonna hold that. We're gonna turn that money back over to Keto and Keto can reissue that to someone else.
Okay, so has this is being that this is unfinished business, has this been tabled before, or there has just not been any action taken on it at all?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
We do not have minutes, Madam Treasurer, to answer that question.
Okay. So the answer to my question was there are no minutes to go back and look on.
I'm not sure if we did or not. I'd have to look.
Okay.
Just gonna have to look.
Okay.
If you could table that
Yeah,
until
so,
January.
no.
What I'm
I don't mind
thinking
going
is,
this next step. But,
what I'm wondering, and please, it's a whole, so dumb, you know what I'm saying? I know we're looking at expiration dates on it. So, yeah, so if we do table this, we've got to still stay on top of it very quickly to make the decision.
The county side of the process is typically over a 60-day period.
so there's no, I don't know, pardon the term downside, but no liability to go ahead and move forward to this next step to start. We're going down two sets of tracks here. We gotta get this one going and get this thing moving, and then we gotta figure out how we get the $130,000 loan.
Correct.
And the two are exclusive, so I'm fine with going down.
That's what I'm wondering too.
You guys
Because
keep
if
the wheels
county
rolling
is at
here.
60 days, we're nearly out of time.
Yeah, you guys keep moving on that is what I would say, and then we're as a
Okay.
board, like I said, I figure out how we come up. The big question is on $130, and I need to do a little bit more research on encumbering debt on an body like this and how it'll work. I'm not prepared to, I don't even know.
And this is an operational expense. It would be set up for monthly payments to be paid out of county funds. So whatever you do get financed through, those payments do come out of our county account.
Okay.
If that helps you any. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Is there a motion to accept the grant?
I would motion that we authorize staff to proceed with the acceptance of the grant.
I second the motion.
On favor.
Bernice?
Yes.
Don? Jane?
Yes.
Pat? 27.
26, discussion and possible action for fundraising. I made to raise funds of $25,000 to be eligible for matching and reimbursement grant of $20,000, which will assist us in producing the ISO rating for the service area. B, celebration, appreciation, and continuation of the shopping for the firefighters.
Any explanation?
Good.
You wanna do that? Okay. So the money that they would need for the matching Keto grant, they would like to raise, knowing that if they raise 25,000 instead of 20 would be reimbursed. It would only be out 5,000. This would go into the general fund account, the local account. And the celebration, appreciation, continuation of stipends. The general local account is what pays the stipends, which I just gave them from
Yes.
20 to 25. So they don't wanna see that money drop down either, and there are many fundraisers that are out there, they've done those in the past, whether it's been crawfish boils or working certain events and getting money donated. But this would be an opportunity for, y'all to authorize fundraisers where we go out into the community and really publicize that, emphasize that, and start seeking donations from everybody from businesses to the local people, visitors, whomever, and to make sure that that account balance doesn't drop down.
This is, it's build more, the community is in more participation, the content, more transparency, and plus, if we're doing fundraisers, that's gonna keep us open.
So that again.
If we're doing fundraisers, then that's, we're getting out to the community, we're getting more involved, so we're not being such a drop-off process. Plus, it's helping with the stipend for, excuse me, for what we need. Chad, Marcus, Zeb, and I have all talked about, and, Joseph have all talked about maybe doing something once a month. Like scavenger hunts for the community that gets involved.
Maybe not.
Yeah, just different activities to where, and plus that's gonna help our numbers as far as recruitment goes as well, because the more people are involved in these communities, then that's gonna increase the numbers.
We'll be doing like a fireworks show for the new year and all like that as well.
Okay, so this A, so this is two separate, I know that both of these fundraisers, both A and B go to the general fund, but this is two separate items, correct?
I think they put that on there as an explanation of what they were gonna be targeting, so that y'all would know they weren't just raising money just to raise money. Here's some of the items that they need to do. If I'm not
I
mistaken.
think that was correct.
So you need people to nominate for this, is that what we're asking?
You just need to authorize that, because y'all can, like TC could volunteer, I could volunteer to help do that, but y'all just need to authorize fundraisers to take place. Money coming in needs to be authorized.
And I don't know you guys, man, real probably. So you guys are okay with that? You don't feel like we're putting the burden on you to go out? I want you to view this as be excited about it, not that we're
Not something else being thrown on.
we're making you go out there.
It should be cooperative, that's our, from our part.
Yeah, and of course the board.
My God.
And so make sure you guys are okay with it. Obviously, it's something you want.
But at the same point in time, if we don't get a good rapport with the community, then,
No.
yeah.
Again, it's legal. I say this, I guess we need to, as a board, put limits on what those can be. I mean, I'm not looking for, bikini car washes.
Yeah, cause you're gonna look very funny.
I know. So all I'm saying is, I mean, if you're gonna say this,
I'll do it.
coming out of university deal, you said so.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? So we just need to make sure that we keep the.
Tasteful community
Yeah,
event.
okay, great, and I don't, please don't be feminine to say that, but I think somebody needs to go on record and say, we gotta make sure that we're,
On the up and up.
yeah, right, okay, so. Okay, not to belabor it, you get what we,
Okay? A motion to approve,
I'll make a motion to approve.
okay?
As per se.
Everybody take a roll call.
Need a second,
A second.
okay? Johnny,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Don? Okay, motion passes 28.
Okay, vote to enter into executive session under.
I have a question on that, Mr. Chairman.
Under Oklahoma.
Okay, on 27?
28. I mean, yeah, 28, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for you. Is the board able to take action upon returning from the executive session to cover 30 through 37 as far as personnel changes without voting individually?
Okay, so you're asking the same question I was gonna ask, can this be treated as a consent document, and we just make one motion to accept it all?
Right.
So, I mean, you guys, I know, still need to, have your,
I don't feel we need to go in an executive session on that.
do we have to?
Are you asking if they have to go into executive session to come out and do this?
Yeah.
Vote on the next
Do
one?
they even have to go into executive? Because it's on here, do we have to honor that?
If someone wants to move for executive session on the board, I'm prepared to vote.
So they do not?
If somebody don't wanna be here, they don't wanna be here, ain't no sense in discussing.
Right, I mean, it's,
Go ahead, Chris.
Right?
Okay, so if you don't do 28, then you don't need to do 29, and then you can go on to number 30. You do
Can-
not have to go into executive executive session to discuss those items if you're prepared to go. If you go into 28, you gotta do 29. If you don't do 28, you don't have to do 29. So you can vote not to go into 28, then 29, you don't need to take any action on, and then you can go straight into 30.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we do not go into
Have,
executive session.
have any of these folks reconsidered?
No.
Okay?
I'll second that motion.
Okay?
All in
Denise?
favor, roll call.
Yes.
Shane?
What we got, hold on.
Not to go into executive
Okay,
session.
yes, not to do it, yes, not to do
Okay.
it.
And Don? Okay, motion passes, you're not going into executive session. Okay, so item 29 is no action. Item 30.
Now, this is where I'm asking, can we do the
Has to
30?
go
Mr.
individually.
Chairman, yeah, my
Absolutely.
question would be, can we take items, and I'm going to motion, and if I get overruled, I'm fine. Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna motion that we take item 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36,
And 37.
and I was just reading 37 to make sure you need to do that. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 37. Yes. Stop at item 37. Actually, I'm fine with 38, 39.
Can I stop you for just 1 second?
Please.
Okay, this is for a legal reason. Go back to number 28. It says vote to enter into executive session. On the votes, it was yes, yes, and yes. That would have to be no, no, and no. Am I correct?
My motion
Well,
was
his
to
motion
not
was to
enter.
not go in.
Okay,
Which
because
is
I was
not-
going by what it.
I'm
His
sorry, I
motion
did throw a
was-
double negative out
Yeah,
there.
his motion was to not.
My
Just
motion
from the
was
legal
to-
side, I want to make
Understood.
sure we're covered.
Great question, but my motion was to not.
Make that
That was a
clear.
good catch.
Yep.
Yeah.
No problem.
Good job.
Go ahead.
No, you're good. All right, so, Mr. Chairman, to summarize, my motion is to combine actionable items 30 through 39 into one vote.
30 through 37 are accepting resignations. The other two are different.
Understood?
Okay.
Good deal, my throat's gone.
I understand. And I'm willing, if somebody has anything else, I'm fine. I'm just telling you, that's what I'm prepared to do.
Okay, so you want, Don, I need clarification on how to write this. You are motioning for 30 through 37 to accept the resignations,
I am?
and on 38,
And 39, an affirmative vote by any member on the board would be a motion to, as written, every one of those 30 through 39 would go into effect as written.
okay.
A negative vote on this would mean that none of these would go into effect.
Okay, so those are those made by Don, I need the second,
I'll second that.
okay?
All in favor, roll call.
Johnny,
Yes.
Shane,
Yes.
Don?
Thank you.
Okay, so motion 30 through 39 pass as written.
Yes.
Okay, to accept resignations of items 30 through 37 and affirmation of 38 and 39.
Yes.
And now you're at item 40. Motion to adjourn.
Wait.
Oh,
We need to go back, and item number 20 was put on
Yes.
hold.
oh, 20 was put on hold, sorry.
20 was put on hold until,
So I do have an answer for you for item 20. We've looked back into the minutes that were in there back to 2014 and found no record of it being approved. We did see bank statements all the way back to 2008, so 2008, of them being paid, but nothing about how much it would be or that it would be. So in item 20, you could say something like I move to approve stipends for firefighters in the amount of $25 for each term.
Is there a legal reason why we would need to use the word establish or just approve? Establish would indicate that it wasn't, so I'm gonna just go with the motion as stated to approve the paying of a $25 stipend.
Approve stipends in the amount of $25 per call
For calling
from local general
in the
fund.
established
Go to recess or adjourn.
Motion,
Move.
second,
I'll second that.
All in favor, roll call.
Johnny,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Don.
Aye.
Approved, adjourned at
9:59.
9:59.
I'm going to bed.
9:15.
Hang on, we got paperwork.
They need to.
Good.